So in this role play, Larry is Sal. And Sal has regularly volunteered for activities like crop walk, service at the local food bank, Habitat for Humanity, and similar programs. Last Thanksgiving, Sal brought 2 guests to the meeting's potluck dinner. Since then, Sal has regularly brought 1 or 2 guests to each potluck lunch. On 1 or 2 recent occasions, Sal has also taken up a collection for the guests. When the proceeds of one such collection did not meet Sal's expectations, he became angry and was not seen for several weeks. The meeting began receiving calls from people seeking aid, and a number of guests began to arrive on their own each week, asking about the meal program. Several weeks later, Sal returned and spoke at length about the betrayal he had felt at the meeting's hands and the lack of support given to the ministry he was so clearly called to lead. Ministry and Council has asked you to speak to Sal.
Hi, Sal. How are you doing? I'm Steven.
How's it going, Steve?
All right.
Okay.
All right. It's great to see you back.
I went through some changes, but I'm back. I'm back with a message, though.
What's the message? What were the changes?
As quick as we extend ourselves to those who are in need and to the helpless and the homeless, I think that we need to pay more attention to that.
I think that a lot of people value the ministry that you're doing. And a lot of people in the meeting value that.
Perhaps what should be done, we need to set up a structure within the meeting itself to deal with these kinds of questions, We need to have a structure where we can offer those kinds of services and prepare to carry them through, sure.
So I think I would love it if maybe you could you write something down?
Beautiful idea. Now that's collaboration. Thank you so much.
All right, thanks so much.
What did people see Steve doing?
He was very affirming, welcoming,
How was he being affirming and welcoming?
saying thank you for bringing the concern, for feeling comfortable to bring people. Glad he was back. But I thought he was really energetic, welcoming. Your whole demeanor was nice.
Charlotte?
Well, mostly you were listened to. You really listened till you understood more and more about his mission.
Say before I say anything or respond, I want to be sure that I understand you, and then you go through that process, and then at the end you can say, I think now that we've gone through this, I understand fairly well what you're presenting, and I have to tell you that it's my understanding that there's some barriers to this in the meeting, and then you can express what you were sent to express and then try to go forward.
Part of our tradition here is that when someone does have a leaning, we encourage them to engage with the community.
I'm so glad that you're informing me that there is a process for this and that I should have followed the process, and I will.
I appreciate your, sticking your neck out. You took a risk, didn't you? It's not easy to move us. We are pretty solid. And you hit us. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
It's really wonderful that you've done that.
What was your experience?
Well, I was fearful. I didn't want to. I felt a sense of responsibility.
What was at stake for you? What was the risk?
I don't guess I had really appreciated when I agreed to serve on MNC, just how, weighty, to use that word, a responsibility it is. if I'm really thinking of this man's spiritual center and my own and that of ours, that's a pretty heavy thing. It feels like a burden in the moment, and I'm frightened that I will not be able to hold it. I guess that's what it is, that I'll
So
vomit.
you're very aware of the tenderness.
That's a good way of putting it. That's a kind and gracious way of putting it. I fear the inner critic in me is being too severe. Maybe I can lighten up about it, but yeah.
When a person expresses disappointment or anger, or when he's putting forth that the community is not living up to what the expectations of the community is, you know, it puts a burden on the person who's going to come to you, come to me, and question me about that. You know what I mean? It's like you're the one that's being held at fault. Because you as ministry and council, you represent the community itself. So you've got to take the brunt of my anger or whatever it is. And that's not an easy thing to do. It's not, you know, sure.
So some of what I'm hearing here is about our expectations of each other and of the meeting, right? And are we able to hold each other as whole and resourceful people, right? Is that something that's possible? And what shifts when we do that? Instead of, you know, I need to protect and defend and be very, very careful and delicate. What shifts when you say, you know, you're whole and resourceful, and here's the way it is here. What shifts? And have people heard in their meeting the term unquakerly?
Oh, yeah.
It's unquakerly
Unquakerly.
to be angry.
Yes.
You know, I think that's part of it. That there's this, you know, sense of identity. If I'm angry, I'm a bad Quaker. I don't get my Quaker badge.
We can agree on the peace testimony, on, you know, what to do about Syria. But that's something abstract from a firm spiritual depth about my interaction with you on a peaceful level and in a way that builds a peaceful community.
Listen for interests and needs, and listen for opportunities for faith. What role does faith have?
We're going to continue with Sal. I began to really question whether this community is really what it's about at all. I don't know what ministry and council can do to help resolve that feeling inside of me. What do you think?
I think some of us would like to meet with you now and maybe a few times more to explore with you your discontent.
I'm rather reluctant, Charlotte. I don't really believe that much is going to come beyond mere words. I don't think they got the help that this meeting is capable of. I don't believe that.
Are you aware of the process that should happen when anyone has an individual leading? Has anyone spoken to you about that?
In that respect, I admit fault on my part. I'll be truthful with you again. I think it would be a waste of my time. I'm not prepared to do that.
Well, I'm prepared to go on listening to you and maybe bringing one or two other people to hear what you have to say as well.
Then we can part amicably.
Did anyone else feel incredibly uncomfortable during that? I did. Oh.
But you know what, that uncomfortableness that we feel is real. What I'm trying to bring to you is there are going to be times when they're not resolvable. I mean, all conflicts are not going to be resolved. Well, we say transformation, because it's a moving on. If there's no reconciliation between the person and what's now, it's best that they leave. It's best that they leave. When I say best that they leave, it's the best for both of them. Because otherwise it'd be conflict ongoing, ongoing conflict.
It seems to me that what Sal is asking for is recognition, if you will, of his leading, and also recognition of the importance of the people whom he was bringing, who he felt didn't receive what they needed. Now, that's what I'm perceiving as Sal's, or at least some of Sal's needs.
Right. What's the second question, though, Tom?
The meeting is not able to meet that need.
There you go.
But in the discussion with Sal, if I can be affirming enough of the genuineness of what Sal is bringing and what Sal's needs are, I may be able to play a transformative role, even though Sal will still leave at the end, because honestly and truly, the meeting cannot meet that need.
That's right.
So in that case, there has been a transformation, and I think it's a positive transformation, and it may even lead the meeting to reevaluate what it can or cannot do.
Don't feel frustrated that you're a failure, that you've done something wrong, or there's something wrong with that. You have to move beyond that. That's where the transformation comes in. The transformative part is that, well, we tried, we offered everything, we tried to meet his needs, and we could not meet his needs at this time. But the door is open.